shift the way you lead, the way you live. Clarity, courage, change. Because your next level won't wait. This is Monday Mindshift. The clarity you've been craving. The shift you didn't know you needed. Well, hello and happy Monday, everyone. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Thank you to everyone who's showing up live or in team replay. Look forward to sharing this with you all today because it's something that a lot of us have struggled with, myself included. So that's why I chose it. I still have the other topics that you guys gave me on my list. So we will definitely be covering those. Some of those topics included choosing yourself, having more peace, forgiving ourselves, and feel free to comment on today's show or any other show or send me a more message and I'll be happy to look at topics you guys want to hear. Good morning, Dr. Marcia. Thank you. It's a great topic because it's something I think a lot of us have dealt with, deal with, and are looking for how to move out of it. Good morning, Miss Sharon. Glad to have you here. Happy December. So let me get started. And once again, no slides because I'm trying it without the slides. I know some people, specifically Meryl and others, have said they love the slides, but I've been kind of restructuring my days, my time to get things done without the rush. All right. So many of us have thought or think that we just give a lot of detail, we over explain because we're just trying to be clear. We want to be understood, right? That's the human situation. We communicate, we want to be understood, right? It's at our core. It's part of being human. When we talk to someone, when we communicate, our goal is to be understood. But if fear is driving your messaging, if you've got that inner fear, that doubt, that over explaining isn't about clarity. It's really a trauma response. We call it communication, we call it clarity, but it's just a trauma response. Let's let that breathe. Today, I want to talk about why you add extra detail, justify yourself, repeat your point, and sometimes even soften the truth. It's not because you're long-winded. It's because somewhere in life you learned and your nervous system decided that being misunderstood was something to be avoided. It wasn't safe. I love the way Gabor, like trauma, that's a big word. It's a loaded word. But Gabor Mate, who's an expert in trauma, says it this way: trauma is not what happens to you. Trauma is what happens inside you. And over explaining is one of the places where that trauma still lives. So our diagnostic, what does this really look like? First of all, it's justification overload. We say more than needed to avoid judgment. We say something like, "Oh, I only did that because." The second way, detail dumping. Guilty, done this, adding layer upon layer upon layer to prove you're not wrong, you're not careless, you're not being selfish. Third, verbally people pleasing. We're trying to control the reaction by anticipating every possible misunderstanding. Right? We're giving all this detail because we're trying to cover all the bases. We're trying, like in sales, right? Sales, they always teach answer the objections before they're brought up. So when we're operating from this place of trauma instead of confident identity, it's about covering the objections before they happen, covering the misunderstandings before they happen, because that scares us. And the fourth way that this appears, if we're feeling more anxious, we tend to over clarify. We repeat ourselves because inside, in our nervous system, in our brain, our body, our mind, our body, we don't believe that we've earned safety. So, what are the symptoms? Do you feel exhausted after a conversation? Do you take on responsibility for how others interpret things? Do you feel anxiety because someone else feels off? Do you ruminate on what you said? Oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Or do you feel guilty for being direct or brief? This is because over explaining is emotional labor. We're burning up tons of energy in trying to cover all the bases, right? And Sharon, that's exactly right. Coercive control has a lot of facets. It's like the most beautiful diamond. There's a lot of facets and that can trigger it. And especially if there's been gaslighting or some similar. So where does it come from? Where did we learn this? Where did we take on the belief that we need to be perfectly understood? Think back in your life to when did this miscommunication become dangerous? Who was the person who reacted badly when you didn't say something perfectly? Who led you to feel responsible for their emotions? Or who punished you for your mistakes? Or worse, your silence? You see, some of us learned if they misunderstand me, I'm unsafe. And good morning, Christy. Welcome. And Christine, thank you for joining. Right? We learned if I'm misunderstood, I'm unsafe. And our body never forgot. Brene Brown says it this way: when we deny the story, it defines us. When we own the story, we can rewrite it. The truth is, you've been over explaining. I had been over explaining because once upon a time, that was protective. right? I needed it to feel safe. You needed it to feel safe. You felt protected by covering the bases, by giving all the details, even though somewhere inside maybe you felt like, I'm just doing this so I can be understood. So, what's the science time? What's the science behind this? Why does our body hijack our words? According to polyvagal theory, it's that 4F, it's the fourth one of the 4Fs, right? Fight, flight, freeze, fawn. Over explaining is a fawn pattern. It's our body's attempt to reconnect. Second is nervous system hypervigilance. I've been working with my wife on this because she's like super hypervigilant. Because our brain, because of the danger, the feeling unsafe. Annie, welcome. And Cyrus. And absolutely right, Cyrus. We want to belong because there was a time in this world where disconnection, rejection could mean death. Right? I heard this, that when a baby is born, it needs to be held immediately. And if you leave the baby long enough without human interaction, it will die. Scientific. So this nervous system hypervigilant, you're constantly scanning for social threats. If I say it wrong, safety goes away. The third point in the science section here is your cognitive load when you're under stress. When you're anxious, you start to talk more because your brain wants to control the uncertainty. Right? The brain hates uncertainty. That's why we fight change so much, because we're like, I don't know how it's going to go. And your brain goes, uh-oh, that's not safe. And when we're under stress, especially if it's chronic stress, we feel more anxious. We are trying to control everything. And the fourth is attachment theory, attachment wiring. So if you grew up in an environment where you needed to be understood in order to avoid conflict, and if you haven't processed through it, your adult body still treats misunderstanding as danger. As I said, you're not long-winded, you're scared. There's no shame in this. I just want us to come to understanding, right? That's the point here. Right? We're just trying to understand what's happening. And then when we understand that, the what and the why, we can do something about it. We can take control of when we own it. Like, okay, this is what happened. I can own it now. Now you get to write the chapter. So what can we do? Right? I always have 3 practice exercises. The first practice is truth versus fear. Check in with yourself. Here's the question you can ask. When you feel the urge to over-explain, ask yourself this: am I speaking from truth or am I speaking from fear? Is it really about clarity or is it control? Reality is, the truth is clean. It feels clean. Fear feels muddled and crowded. Happy Monday, Lisa. Welcome. What I want you to do is take one sentence you said this week, strip it to the simplest version. As an example, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to bother you. I just wanted to check if maybe you had the chance to look at that document. That's a lot. Could simply be, do you have a moment to review this document? So take that sentence you thought of. Let me look at what Cyrus has got. But anyway, so take the sentence you thought of. What was the example, and strip it down to the most simple version of what you were trying to gain, what you were trying to communicate. So let's see. Cyrus says, desired outcome is being understood. Understood means safe. That's what we believe, Cyrus. And we, as you say, we seek outcomes that we can control, because based on our beliefs, based on what we know, control equals happy and safe. But I've learned I don't need to control everything. There are some things I'm supposed to control. Other things, they're not mine to control. Like if I share my truth with someone and they have a negative reaction to it, as long as I was true and just and diplomatic, and I wasn't intentionally being a jerk, right? I'm just saying, hey, do you have time to review this document? As an example. If they get offended over that, that's not mine. That's not yours, right? How they take your question, your comment, is not your responsibility. If you delivered it in the safe, sane way, and they still get angry, they still get hurt, we can't own that. We own our own. But I want you to take that sentence. If you do it right now, that's great. If you can't, I understand. But take time and rewrite it. Take your sentence where you over-explained, where you said more than you needed to say, and just rewrite it in the simplest way. So I want you to imagine standing in a room with a fog machine. If you've ever been in a space where the fog machine's going, especially if it's been going for a while, over-explaining is like turning a fan on to clear the fog. Or, like doing this to clear the fog in that foggy room. Hoping that someone will see you. They will see you clearly. But the truth is, the more you start waving your hands, you're not clearing the fog. You're just drawing it more around you. So you're more invisible. Because the reality is the fog isn't in the room. It's in our fear of being misunderstood. So what fog are you trying to clear with your words? Think about that. Absolutely, Christy. When we let go of the things we were never meant to control, it's like putting down a heavy backpack you've been carrying way too long. Sharon, you caught on. There's an intention with my podcast, with this, everything's building on each other, right? It's not accidental. I plan this very strategically. All right. My favorite exercise, the two chair dialogue. Today, it's the fear voice and the authority voice. You're going to invite those two internal voices. In the first chair is your fear voice that says, well, if I don't explain everything, they might think I'm wrong or that I'm rude or stew cat, as my son says, which is our word for stupid or selfish. The other voice is your authority voice that says, I don't owe justification for my own existence. I speak clearly because my truth is enough. Right? So we're going to let the fear voice speak. The authority voice is going to speak the truth. So my question here, before I read Sharon's comment, what is your fear voice trying to protect? And what is your authority voice ready to reclaim? Fear seeks permission. Authority speaks from grounded and from center, from grounding and center. All right, so Sharon says, let's see, let's pop that up because that's a juicy one. So Jung says we need to embrace that others will never fully understand us. We must accept that they are trying and it's the best they can do. Genuine reciprocity. As an empath, I feel when others don't understand and try harder. But using the right tool to clear the fog, and over explaining is not the ideal tool. Right? We have to remember where the fog originates. It reminds me, like when I'm looking at the screen and it's not clear, the first thing I do is I take my glasses off and clean them because it's probably not the screen. It's probably not anything other, clean the glasses, clean the lens. And that's absolutely right, Sharon. It undermines our credibility by over explaining. It basically creates the same situation that fear is trying to protect us from. Have you ever sat and listened to somebody talk and you're like, what's the point? Like, can you get to the punchline? And you miss the main message because there's all this extra stuff. I've seen it with English as a second language clients. I point out a mistake because that's why they're coming to learn English. They're new. It's not their native language. So of course they're going to make mistakes. So I gently correct them. They use the present tense when they should have used the past tense or something. 9 times out of 10, oh, sorry. Really? Like, no. Not sorry. You don't need to be sorry. You're learning the language. I'm teaching my son. He's in that phase where sorry is the first thing out of his mouth. Whatever it is, like whatever I'm pointing out, I don't even have, it's not even like I'm angry and I'm yelling or anything. It's just like, hey, can we try to keep this room neat? Oh, sorry. I said, honey, I don't want your sorries. Save the sorries for when it really matters. Mistakes happen. Accidents happen. Let's work at doing better. And I'm not talking like you're going to do it perfect, but stop over explaining, stop justifying our very own existence and our value. Like, you're a human being, you have value. You have wisdom, you have experience, you have knowledge. Own it. Whoops. All right. Practice number 3, the one sentence rule. I hope you will find that this is massively simple and massively liberating. Think of it this way. When you're speaking, go in with this mindset. One sentence is enough. If you want to add another sentence, make it powerful. Make it additive, not apologetic. Here's my decision. Boom. Done. My answer is no. This is what I need. This is my preference. No justification, no cushioning, and no softening your edges so that others will feel comfortable. No stepping back and carrying the guilt and everything that comes with not speaking the truth, not speaking what lines with your core, your values, what's important to you. Absolutely, Sharon. A lot of times we need to step away from that situation so that we can recalibrate, so that we can get to the right state before, and that might never come, right? Yes, we're humans. We were meant to connect. And when we have a damaged relationship, of course, there's a part of us that would at least wants to end it clean. But you do need that safety zone to recalibrate. Yes, and Christy, absolutely. Less is more. As I said, we're not trying to be rude. We're just speaking the truth in love in the simplest form. Glennon Doyle says it this way: every time you pretend to be smaller than you are, you're lying. And I would add, over-explaining is one of the biggest lies you can tell yourself. So let me say this. Over-explaining has kept you safe. It worked in the past. But is it keeping you small now? That's the question only you can answer. I can't answer it. If it's keeping you small, then it's time to reevaluate. If it's not letting you rise to your next level in life and relationships, in your career, your business, whatever, time to reevaluate. And here's the reflection. Write this out if you can. It's very powerful. The place I over explain most is, and you fill in the blank. The place I over explain most is. And then follow that up with this. The truth I want to stand in instead. See, did I get the copy paste here? I'm going from computer to phone so that I can comment on LinkedIn since Restream doesn't allow that. Well, I don't think Restream. I think there's something between the two APIs. So once again, the place I over explain myself the most is, enter your truth. Where do you find yourself over explaining? And then the truth I want to stand in instead is. Rewrite it, reframe it. Right? Take ownership. Where's the truth that you want to stand in? To wrap this up a little bit here, you don't need more words. You need more safety. And real safety is built inside. It's built from within you. Real safety is your process. Yes. Yeah, it never does. It just creates more fog. Over explaining is what you do, what I have done when identity feels unstable. When you're not sure, am I allowed to take up space? So we try to earn it with extra words. Clarity won't come from explaining more. It comes from knowing who you are before you ever open your mouth, before you say a single word. When you know who you are, you find that clarity and you can speak clearly. And if they don't understand, that's not yours. So if this discussion, if this presentation, maybe it hit something real for you, maybe you felt like, that's me. And if you're ready to lead from truth instead of fear, here's my invite today. I have some space on my schedule for what I call my identity clarity calls. This is where we get under your habits. We dig down deep and get to your core identity. Who are you? Who do you believe you are? And we map where your nervous system is still feeling unsafe, where you're editing your voice. And what does your aligned self really want to say? Because as a leader, and I've said this before, everybody's a leader, and I just heard it on Leslie's show. This was shared by the guest, I believe. We're all in leadership in some way or another. We may not call it that, but it's there. The voice you speak with externally comes from the identity you accept internally. So if you want to change the message, you got to change the inner identity. Wow, Sharon, powerful stuff. All right. So that's my presentation for today. Let me get the link and share it everywhere. Wow, LinkedIn is acting so wonky. I've had to reset it on my phone 3 or 4 times today. But I'd love to hear from people. If you're willing to come up, as I've said before, no need to go on camera. You can be, you know, behind your avatar or, a black screen, whatever your setup. But I'd love to hear from you. I know some people in the audience I've seen on camera or talking on other events or their own events. It was exciting to join Nicole's discussion with Sharon and trying to remember who else was there. Paulette and others that were sharing their journey of the new book that just came out, the letter to my family. You can confirm that for me, Sharon. I don't remember exactly if I'm saying it right, or a letter to my family. It's Guiding Brilliant Writers' latest publication and anthology. So it was very cool to see and hear from Sharon. I'm used to seeing her in the comments, but to actually see her on screen, sharing her heart, sharing her words, was was very nice. It was very powerful. But if you have words to share, feel free to click the link, join. As I said, you can be audio only. No need to feel nervous. Kenneth, savor the flavor, and you for showing up. Glad to have you. And I know it's not easy for Kenneth to join because this is in the middle of his workday. And if you have questions, additional comments, let me go back and look through the comments that did come in. Let's see if I missed any. I missed Liana. Liana, if you're still here, glad to have you. Happy December. I'm sure it's getting cold up there in Minnesota. Lei, thank you for joining. Happy Monday to you. I said hi to Christine and Christy, Dr. Marcia. Yes, naming it, as I always say, name it to tame it. Right, Sharon? Annie joined us. Cyrus joined. Lisa, some great comments. I think I covered those from Cyrus and from Sharon. Let's see. Less is more. Yes, yes, yes. Excellent. And I don't remember if that was a launch party for Letter to My Family or just a BTS behind the scenes. So I'm going to go check. Get a link if needed. Any.
Oh, Sean,
Hello, sir.
I'm totally. This is one conversation. You totally lost me.
Okay.
I don't know what to make of it. I don't know whether I'm thinking to myself, I'm just not tuned in enough, or I tend to speak and then not speak. Yeah, you with me? Like half the
So,
time I would say stuff like that, and then other times I just refuse to speak because I don't think anyone needs to hear my voice. I'm not that much. I'm not in that much lack of self confidence to need to be heard. Even though I do so many events, I'm saying I just sit there quietly. Is that all part of the
Right.
picture, or
Often,
am
yeah.
I
Often,
not?
often in your events, I know you're doing the events to spotlight others, to let others' voices, but your
Mm,
voice matters too, Annie.
Yeah, I get to speak. I get. I don't know. Some things, Sean. When we look within, I see. We see the thing, right? You know,
Hmm.
I wish I could be like Sharon Rose. She gets it. She's proper on it today. I'm just like,
Well, and I get the impression that Sharon has done a lot of introspection,
hmm,
and she's also done the next level of introspection, which is even deeper than introspection. Introspection is looking at ourselves,
hmm,
evaluating,
hmm,
you know, am I operating from my truth, from my values, in alignment with who I really am, who I want to be? Because that's one thing I teach is if you're not happy with who you think you are, that's changeable.
hmm. See, and now I know why you're speaking short sentences. You're the only one I know who will suddenly stop talking. You said it, so then you like if you don't get it, then well, I've
Well,
said what I'm going to say.
it's not even about that. It's actually something I had to learn, Annie, was to give others space to speak
Hmm,
because I can share something and let it land, let it like silence is something we most of us have feared, right? If there's a
hmm,
conversation, it needs to keep going
hmm.
or we're waiting to jump in because we're not really listening. And I find by giving space and letting others the space to digest and process it, it's powerful.
True, true. Now, I was watching something earlier that said, no, we don't. The average person cannot fathom spending 30 minutes in silence.
It's scary for a lot of people.
Yeah, I can imagine it's scary. I guess that. Well, so one of my rules for my events is no silence, no dead spaces. So I'm ready to interject or say something, or I want someone to say something in those silent spaces, which is very different to a conversation. So I can sit for ages and not say a word. Quite happy in my joy. Quite happy, even amongst friends. You can be happy in silence. I mean, that's sometimes that's what says more about who's your real friend. The person that you can not see for a year and it's still the same happy experience when you do meet up with them,
Hmm.
and the person that you can sit there with in silence, and neither of you is thinking crazy thoughts. So,
And I said it wrong. I said interospection, but it's
hmm,
interoception.
okay. So what's that then?
It's being aware of all the signals you're feeling in the body, right? Is it, the little twinge of nervousness, the, like hung on the big level, right? Hunger. You're hungry, you're tired. It's listening, it's quieting yourself long enough to listen to yourself. at
Mm.
every level, right? It's the meditation masters, that's what they're doing. They're able to quiet their thoughts or let go of the thoughts, because that's something a lot of people get stuck on. They're like, I can't do, but I can't imagine my brain just shutting off. No, your brain doesn't shut off. The
Mm.
thoughts will come. And the idea is that we're not taking hold of them. We're like, oh, there goes it. Okay. Like clouds. You can't grab the clouds, but we try to grab our thoughts and wrestle
Mm.
with.
Again, that's a lesson for today, probably. Okay, so like, when I meditate, I tend to visualize and think about the things I want to happen. So
Right. Is it meditation, or is it leaning into like visualization? And
it's,
and
it's, a,
when I say visualization, I don't necessarily mean
mm,
it has to be pictures, right?
yeah,
Because
it's a bit of both. That's why I just realized. You know, I don't know to meditate with nothing, because normally I do guided meditations, so it's rare that I have nothing, total silence, and then work from zero. Best of times, there's a and just before my meditation, I normally do my gratitude, which includes my goal setting, really, my visualizing the goals I want to achieve. So they also blend together. Where the meditation then becomes we bring those goals to life, seeing the picture of them being realized. Yeah, so are you saying is there a benefit in this silence meditation?
there is, but it's not necessarily for everybody at every stage. Like you've got to go into it if it feels right and if it works for you in your current stage.
Mm, mm, yeah, yeah.
And like I've done guided meditations, like you said. I've actually recorded some and shared them. Actually, I made one for my wife because she was going to go deal with her mom who's got dementia. So that just added another level. And I
Mm,
wasn't going to be there to be her rock, as she called. Like when
mm,
her mom stressed, when she gets stressed over her mom, she would just come and like, you know, lean on me.
mm.
But I wasn't with them. She's like, what am I going to do? How am I going to survive it? And I said, okay, I'll record you a meditation that you can put your headphone, you can just go to your room, put your headphones on and escape for a minute, to reset, to reground yourself. So I've done guided, I've done to just sit in silence and watch the thoughts as they come up, just drift by, not only, not doing anything with them. And I've actually done something called the gateway process.
What's that?
So there's a place called the Monroe Institute,
Mm,
and they did under the guidance, was it the guidance of the CIA, but they were working with the CIA to determine what capability the human mind actually had. And this process was relaxing. Like the goal was to mind awake, body asleep, using progressive relaxation, deep body or deep breathing, body scanning, so that your body is like when you sleep, it's unconscious, but your mind is still awake and alert. And part of the process was you create this visual box and you put all your stuff in it, everything, all your thinking, your feeling, just everything goes in that box, and lock it away and put it away for a moment so that you can just be centered. It was powerful
Mhm.
because it actually took you into theta brainwave. Normally, we're not in theta, and our external world is louder and more powerful than what's going on inside. We often don't hear what's happening inside, but through this process, it flips it. The external world goes quiet, and your internal world comes up to where you can hear it very clearly. I want to get back. I haven't done it because it's powerful. But it takes
Is it,
practice.
yeah, I mean, it's working on freeing yourself from the thoughts and from the noise, like you say. Make space for what comes after the silence. Interesting. So look, in terms of this over explaining, go on, what can I take away? That I'm at a loss to know what to take away.
So it's the awareness of when you speak.
Mm,
Are you being concise and clear for clarity's sake, or are you over explaining, over apologizing, softening a little so that you keep the peace? I lived in that world. Like I grew up in chaos.
mm,
I'm a Libra, which is a natural peacekeeper anyway. So I was constantly trying to soften my edges, not offend anybody, not,
mm,
you know, so
mm.
having to learn like I can stand on my own 2 feet. Yes, I appreciate appreciation and gratitude and, you know, accolades and all that. Who doesn't? But I don't need them anymore. I knew who I am and I can stand strong on my own 2 feet. But I still catch myself over explaining sometimes because some old part gets triggered.
It's
You're
a
muted.
hard it's a hard one. It's a proper hard one. Part of me is thinking it often depends on the people or the person I'm with,
100%.
right? And I'm not sure I'm doing it out of a need that is anything other than getting them to understand. I don't have any negative connotations in that sense.
Well, then you're in a good position. If you're just trying to be clear so that people
Mm,
can understand, understanding the situation, the context, the person you're speaking to,
mm,
like when Leslie invited me on on her show, she asked, "Please make sure everything you share is at a certain level so that everybody can understand." Right? Don't And I've seen it. Like I'm reading a book right now because it's what I do. I read these academic books that would bore most people to tears.
mm. But the most interesting reads, so up
There's
until
like
now.
there's almost more footnote text than there
Mm.
is book text. Um, but where was I going with that?
No, I mean, it's a need to apologize and the need, maybe that's where I am. I don't ever see the need to apologize. I think that you're going down the road of someone giving you a specification, so to speak, in terms of what
Oh
to
yeah,
do.
yeah. So that book,
Yeah.
it's not for everybody.
Mm,
But if my goal is to share something that anybody could understand, then I'm not going to speak at that level. I'm not going to use as my wife used to say in HR in learning and development,
mm,
limit your use of $5 words. right? Sometimes we use those big words because
Mm,
we think it makes us look smarter or better because we
yeah.
know triskaidekaphobia.
What the hell?
Well,
and,
the
and
funny thing
I
is
know
that
what you
that's a word I learned in my sophomore year in high school,
mean.
and I can't seem to forget it. Like it's always there. It's like this random word I have in my head
You
that
poor thing.
I never use. I have no use for it.
Yeah. No, look, it drives me totally crazy when I see people trying to sound more intelligent or use big words. I just think, why have you written? I remember having a go, not having a go. Look at my wife's writing and saying, just say what you mean, please. Because it's too much hard work for me to try and decode funny speak.
Exactly.
I just
Well,
want to just talk normally, and I try and keep myself in that space where I just talk normally, so, the thing that we know the big words, I don't think it's
right,
ever
but this
helped.
doesn't mean we need to use them.
No, ever. Really, no, no. Of course, some things are terminology. I get that, but most of the time, again, I was thinking earlier. Half the time, people think I'm dumb, but good luck to them because they just don't know. And then after a while, when they spend long enough in my events, they realize, wow, he knows a bit more than he looks like he does. I don't know whether that gives me joy or that gives me anything other than, you know, eventually, you come to appreciate what I bring to the table. And half the time I don't really care if they do or not.
Well, and that's a good place.
mm,
That you have your message, you have what you're trying to communicate, you're looking to communicate it clearly, and after that it's on them.
mm,
And that's what I was getting at, is like that's how we all should be, is that speak the truth in love, and the understanding, if you've brought the grade level to an appropriate level and you've spoken clearly, because like you said, when you over explain you actually create more fog
mm.
and
Distraction,
misunderstanding than
distraction.
you're right.
Yeah.
You think you're creating clarity, but you're not. You're actually doing exactly the opposite.
Mm,
I was sitting at a church service one Sunday, and my wife, the preacher's going on and on and on and on and on, and my wife looks at me and she's like, what's he talking about? I'm like, yeah, he lost me like 20 minutes ago. I have no idea what his point is.
mm, mm. Yeah. And don't be that guy. Don't be that lady.
Right, but I see it on webinars, I see it on YouTube,
mm,
right? The title catches your attention, you go to watch it, that you're going to get some information, and over half of the presentation had nothing to do with what you thought you were coming to get.
Well, I suppose, look, for me, I think that smacks of being salesy rather than having a conversation. Let's say an extension of that. I hope when you come to my events, you don't see that happening. I really mean that. Not just me, I mean my friends as well, because I do try and I do hope that we're just gonna be normal, whatever normal means, right? Just talk normally. Damn, just talk normally. I don't know anyone who has that sense of. There's also a sense of superiority, sense of I'm more intelligent than all of you. I think I've worked hard to maybe not spend so much time around those people.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
I love people like you and I, just ordinary people. I mean, people can take that as they wish. I'm saying, are we normal? But I like people just who are just happy, just happy. Maybe that's all I want. Just be happy and and present in the moment.
right, present in the moment, enjoy, finding joy in the moment,
Mm,
and being true to yourself, being grounded in who you are.
mm.
And I actually just my podcast I recorded today, because I took a little step
I
back and
saw November the 6th.
mm,
I'm like, Sean's hasn't recorded anything since November the 6th. How can this be? I'm like, refresh, refresh. There must be new.
you're
There
like, I
must be
must
new.
have missed something, huh?
He's hiding somewhere.
Well, it was my 1 year point.
Ah, cool.
My mailbox is blowing up with messages of people who want to come be have a conversation with me, left and right. So I'm going to have a lot more interviews this, moving forward. But the podcast episode I was recording today talked about this. There's one line I want to share. People don't follow perfect. Not for any, not sustainably. They follow real.
Mm, mm.
And the only way real shows up is when we stop performing, when we stop over explaining and putting on a show. Look at me, I'm so smart, I'm so great, you should follow me, you should buy my stuff.
It's very weird, So I find myself talking to a friend the other day, and maybe it's the only person that really frustrates me. Many could frustrate me, but this is one that really frustrates me. It's not because the performance is more a pity party.
Mm.
It's more. I think the conversation went down to I'm saying, look, just live a normal, happy life. When you show up in our spaces, just be happy. That's all I ask of you. Find the joy in life, right? Oh no, I'm depressed. I'm saying, well, you just keep saying that. You stay depressed.
Well,
you know?
and that's a common thing I see around is, there's power in language. And when we're just we think we're narrating reality when really we're creating reality. Right? If we're wandering around, I'm sad, I'm depressed,
Mm,
I'm lonely, I'm mime. We're not talking about what's real. We're creating the
yeah,
vortex that keeps us in that.
totally agree. Totally agree. Yeah, and that's when some people choose to stay in misery. I just got to really say, really, when I tried to, I was trying too hard to say, look, come into our world. I realized that lesson. We create our reality, exactly that. We create our experiences. So that's why I framed it. Then I just thought, yeah, you're trying too hard. If he's not ready, he's not ready. Let it
Right.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it
It-
goes
it-
it goes back to that old saying, right? You can lead a horse to water,
mm.
but you can't make him drink.
Alas, no. So again, maybe back to my
But
point.
I heard it this way, Annie. You can
Say again.
salt the water. You can salt their water, or salt their food.
You can,
You
and then
can
make him go and
salt their
drink.
food, and then they're gonna want to get a drink.
Or you just no, or you just say, you know what? I will find. It's not like I find other people who are more aligned. Maybe that's who are more on my wavelength.
Right. Which, like
Is that the
this,
answer?
yeah, you can't change the people around you, but you can change the people around you.
Yes, of course you can. Well, it's just a slight focus of attention from those who are draining you to those who are empowering you, those who are energizing you. That's why I'm looking at it. And I'm not saying I'm not going to talk to you ever again. Even though I'm mulling over,
Right.
do I stop inviting X to my parties?
It's it's about protecting your energy,
Mm, mm,
right? Like you said, you're not slamming a door
mm,
on that person, but you're like you're setting a boundary like,
mm,
okay, I'm going to limit my
exactly.
interaction with this person because they
Mm,
drain me,
mm, mm,
and I'm going to put more time over in this space where it energizes me, it
mm.
charges me, it encourages, it lifts me up.
Yeah, okay, exactly that. So, of course, I don't know whether the hope is that they'll find themselves. Well, no, in English way, we say hopefully the penny will drop. Hopefully, you will know. You suddenly get that moment of, oh, this is why Annie's not so much around anymore.
And I have a perfect example of that in my own life. So I had a person who was a drainer. And so my wife, my the challenging thing is like the husband we loved and we energized around
Mm,
him.
mm,
She was draining. So we set the boundaries like, okay, we're not closing the door, we're not building a wall, but we've got guidelines on
mm,
our interactions. And I didn't try to convince her because as we just stated, it doesn't work. You
mm,
can bang them on the head over and over and over, and all you do is build more resistance.
mm,
But when we shift and we just live our true path, right? We be real, we stand and we keep living what we believe is right, follow that path. Sometimes, not always, they go like that is more impactful, right? They
mm,
see and they're like, "Oh, look at Annie, he's so calm over there. He doesn't talk much on his shows, but when he does talk, it's worthwhile."
mm,
I think that's the thing. Like we they watch they're watching people are watching you
mm.
24/7,
Of course, all day, every day, all day, every day.
right?
And
And
you never say,
like the discussion this morning, you interrupt like I got in trouble because I got up to walk outside so I could listen to y'all. And my wife's like, "You just disappeared." She's like, "I looked up and you weren't there." She's like, "Where'd Daddy go?"
I can't
Yes,
help you with that.
yeah. And as Sharon said, she shared that over explaining is trying to be understood in non-business environments.
Mm, mm,
Yeah, the over explaining always comes up because we feel that fear in, it might be a deep
mm,
fear that we don't acknowledge fully, but there's some part that says if I don't put all this in, they're going to misunderstand me. And it's a practice to stop yourself. Wait, I don't need to say that much. What's the short version? The
mm,
right? It's not about like being rude or mean or
mm,
offensive just for that, the sake of it. It's being direct and clear.
mm. Okay. I get that now. I can live with that. So I don't like to come to this event and feel like I'm taking my traumas away. That's why I was like, let me go and talk to Sean, and then let Sean at least shine the light and tell me, here's what you can do different. And I'll just carry on being my happy self, right? And be more concise. So I will try and adopt that approach.
Yeah, right. It's like I've been teaching my son the think acronym, right? Think before you speak.
Mm,
Is it true? Is it helpful?
mm,
Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? Is it kind? And kind I embrace. Nice to the curb. January 2024, I gave a speech. Stop being nice.
I mean, nice means many things. My coach showed me years ago. The coach, nice means nothing inside cares enough. It doesn't help to be nice. And if anyone's been nice to you, yeah, walk on by means they don't care enough.
Right.
So,
Kind is a very different
mm,
story, though.
mm, mm, especially in how you speak to people. Again, that's another area where it's easy to go down the am I over explaining route. Because I will find words to be kind. I could just say, look, that is terrible. Why don't you just go and do yourself in? But there's no benefit in that. There's no joy in it, right?
Right.
I think there's a joy in finding other words that do all the things you said. Yeah, it's inspiring, and necessary. I suppose even necessary. You know, I think, and it's above all kind. And that's why I write long DMs. I'm like, I could just say it in 2 words. Nah, I don't want to say the 2 words. It's fine.
Right. That,
It's
that brings in, is it necessary?
mm,
Right. Is it
mm,
helpful? Is it actually going to help them? And is it necessary? And that takes a certain kind of wisdom to know that this is the right time, the right person to say that thing.
my friend. Always insightful. Always
Always a
insightful.
pleasure. Thank you for returning the favor. Like, because when
Yeah,
I jump in on like Lisa's show,
that's
you're
what
like,
it
thank you
is.
for coming to
That's what
rescue
it is.
me.
No, it's always felt
And
mean to leave your friends on stage by themselves. And I think all of you think that when you see me on stage, you're like, let's go and save him from himself. Otherwise, you just carry on
yeah,
talking.
I've been seriously considering. I had a co-host and we had great discussions, and I haven't heard from my co-host in a long time. I hadn't till today. I hadn't even seen posts from them.
So she's back on LinkedIn. You saw a post?
I saw a post today from her, and I would love to have her back
Mm.
because we had this
Yeah.
resonance. We
Mm.
played off each other, but you flow with it. If it's the Sean show for now, it's the Sean show for
Mm. Mm.
you
No,
know
and
LinkedIn
your
LinkedIn
friends.
shifted that in the first place, because
Yeah.
I started it as an audio room, which
Mm.
was great because you people were it was more easy for people to join. And Sharon shared that she had tried to join, but technical, she couldn't,
Mm. Mm.
her system wasn't cooperating.
So that's one day. So Sharon came on my stage last week. Yeah, last week Friday, I believe. First time I've ever seen her or heard her speak. And she's lively. She's so yeah.
She is. I didn't catch her on your show, but I did catch her on the launch video. I think it
Yeah,
was,
yeah,
for
yeah.
the book that they
Mm.
did together. Her and Paulette and
Yes, and then and Nick
Nick. Yeah,
W book. Yeah, look, I think that people will come on your friends will come on your show. Of course they will.
when
So
the timing's right.
especially given that you go, you are the one that goes on everyone's show. So you know it's you've earned the credits, my friend, and we shall repay and more.
And I saw that what was it, in 2023,
Mm,
I had a Twitch channel.
that's a gaming thing, right?
It was more towards gaming. Yeah, there's other shows like I've seen English teaching and other things, but predominantly it started as gaming. But when I decided to actually start, like, I had a Twitch channel and I was visiting other creators,
Twitchers,
interacting,
Twitchers, as you lot call each other.
Twitchers. Anyway, when I decided to start live streaming, I got affiliate status with Twitch in the fastest possible time, which was 7 days,
Wow.
because I already had enough subscribers.
Mm,
All I had to do was stream 7 days in a row, or
mm.
it didn't have to be in a row, but you had to stream 7 separate days, and you had to log X number of hours to get that unlocked. So I did it in the fastest possible. I was surprised, to be honest.
You didn't. You are a fun guy. That's a bad joke, but yeah, it still makes me laugh. Though.
I have mushrooms in my head, like
Now you get it. That's a bit that makes me laugh. So yeah, I'm quite childish that way, right? Nah.
I've been a part of several discussions about this, about, let's laugh and have fun. I have fun with dad jokes with my son. Like, what does the sweet potato wear to bed?
I hate to guess.
Yammies.
That's terrible.
Yes.
But it
Well,
makes you laugh, right?
yeah,
It makes you laugh.
laughter is good. It's good to
Mm,
laugh and have fun, and, be a
mm.
kid again a little bit.
Yeah,
Don't have
we
to
must
do
laugh
everything
every
so
day.
seriously.
I think we should laugh every day. So I try to learn. I'm lucky. Someone called Carrie Jason, is that his name? He sends me a joke every day, every single day, and it's just nice to just have just have a giggle. If I can have a belly laugh because this joke is really funny, then even better. So if I don't get those jokes, I'll find a way to laugh anyway. You know, that's me making myself laugh, or my son making me laugh. So I think a laugh for a day keeps the mental health demons away. That's why I say it, right?
Well, and if you really want to learn about, hear something about the power of laughter, um, I'll send you the name. There's a guy who got a terminal diagnosis from his doctor. Oh, okay. It looks like I might have a co-host.
Excellent.
Sharon says if she's not available, I'm game.
That would
So I need to
that
have
would,
I need to have a conversation with Miss Sharon, because I think she could
yeah,
add a lot.
yeah.
Um, and like you said, she's lively. She's got
Mm.
a great, you know, wisdom and presence. I do need to wrap this up soon, but I'll get you the name. He had a terminal diagnosis from his doctor, but they wanted to treat him with the traditional processes for that diagnosis. He fired his doctor, rented a hotel room, got a film projector, because this was before, VCR tapes, which was not easy, right? Like, you couldn't just
Mm.
go to local shop and buy a projector. You had to search. Watched old Marx Brothers films and similar in a hotel, got a doctor who would work with him. He went from a diagnosis of a year or less. He lived like more than 34 more years,
Oh, wow.
because he just spent all that time in the hospital laughing at funny films.
Mm.
So it's really, really powerful to be able to laugh and laugh at yourself sometimes.
Yeah, well, I've witnessed laughing therapy, laughter
Lap-
therapy,
Laughter
where
therapy.
literally there's groups that just stand there and they all laugh, and then you can laugh at nothing. They can laugh and just once you start, it's easy to carry on laughing. So
Yeah,
so I'll carry on chasing my laughs a day.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
good thing.
Yes. Thank you.
And I
Thank you
should
much.
wrap this up. We're 20
Yeah.
over, and
By all
my
means.
wife's over there waiting patiently for me
By all means.
because
Mrs. Shaw, she's saying,
she
she said, I've got
expected me to be done at 12, which I usually am, but
okay. Yeah, no, just
sometimes
say
not.
thank you for the chance as always. You say, I know it's a two-way street. For those who come on stage, I don't know, I say those who some people make you feel as if they're doing you a favor. Yes, to a degree, but it's a two-way street. I get seen and heard. Well, I've been not seen and heard. So I will thank you for the opportunity. I think that's only fair. Look, you take care. Hopefully, have you done our questionnaire for Dr. Paula Washington? I sent
I
you.
have not had that chance yet. No.
Okay, if you get a chance, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not
I'll do
sure
what
you
I
are.
can, and in about 2 weeks,
Yeah.
because I had the opportunity to have a conversation with her on my podcast, and it was good. So
Hmm.
I'm looking forward to releasing that in a couple weeks.
Isn't it? Isn't it a small world where you two are in the same? You're in the same niche. As I was telling her the
Right.
other day,
Yeah,
because I know.
we overlap a lot, and a
Mm,
lot of our concepts and
mm,
ideas are similar.
mm.
Um, but we each approach it from our own unique experience and perspective. And that's the beauty in the world, right? Is we all bring our version of information, and that will reach the right people when it needs to.
No, she is fascinating, and I look for that. Our show's at 8 o'clock. What's that? A couple of hours, hour and a half now.
Yeah.
And
The funny thing is we were both in a hotel room having our interview.
really,
Neither one of us were at the home office.
you're globetrotters. That's where it boils down to, right? You're superstars who are sought after stars. So
Yeah. I happened to be at a AI summit, which was quite interesting because here in Latin America, AI is just barely
mm,
they're barely scratching into it.
yeah. Well, it's here, right?
It's here, and I heard it said this way: AI is not going to take your business or your job. Someone who knows how to use AI
Mm.
will take it.
I agree. I agree. I agree. I agree 100%. I think that's a great way to look at it because that is I talk about those who do AI and those who use AI. I think use will definitely have to do. So many people are relying without AI, without the tools, they have nothing. And I'm amazed. I don't know why I'm amazed. I'm amazed because I see big people who are capable. So again, I say this, and I talk about this in the recently these days. I was in a room a couple of weeks ago, maybe even last week, and someone said, "If AI doesn't write the post or the blog, I don't write it." A well-to-do person on LinkedIn, literally well-to-do, unless someone who thinks they are an influence in our community. I'm like, so I actually put in the comments, if you can't write or create anything without AI, what does that say about you, your expertise, and your knowledge? So I left it at that. Because you know,
Yeah, that's
those
almost like the meme video I've seen. If you haven't seen it, the guy goes into the coffee shop and the barista says, "What can I get you today, sir?" She just said, "What can I get you today?" I don't know how to respond. And they're like, they're both talking to their AI chatbot because neither one yet knows what to do.
Mm, mm, mm. Let's hope we don't get there. Let's hope people are, people can catch themselves. I'm not going there. I refuse to talk to my devices in that way. If I need a question answered, I'll type and ask a question. Yeah, even talking to Siri is against my better judgment. I've never talked to Siri in my life. Let's call it a day, my friend. My son is looking at me.
Siri's helpful for setting an alarm and
Mm.
or adding to the grocery list. I haven't found her much more useful than that.
People ask Siri, what color is that? I'm like, you don't know. It's in front of you. Take a guess. But no, then I say it's an odd thing. But it's a life we live, my friend. It's been a joy. It's been a joy. So I'm gonna go and do that
Likewise.
duty to take my son to
Okay.
karate, and then come and
All
prepare
right.
for the show. Expect my link. Well, you got the link already. So I want to invite you again.
Okay.
Excellent. Hopefully, I'll see
Take
you. If I
care.
don't,
I'll do my best.
I like the hidden chat, by the way. 'Cause when you can't see the chat, it's less distracting to my poor eyes. You can see the
Yeah,
chat,
it can be distracting for
mm,
sure.
so I can't see it, so I'm fine.
And I've noticed that with hosts, like I put a comment and
Mm,
like
mm.
it interrupts their flow. And then sometimes it's harder to come back. Like what was I talking about?
Yeah, I know. It's that Sean guy. That's another funny question. You take care, my friend. Thank you so
You
much. Take
too.
care.
All
Bye
right.
bye.
Bye bye. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining. Thank you for carving out time in your day to listen, whether live or watching replay. Look forward to talking with you all next